For those of you who don't know us, we're Mac Mart. We're based out of Center City, Philadelphia. We're sisters, Marty and Pamela. So like we said, we're both going to be demoing and showing you everything. The recipes are both of ours. And my sister's also going to be taking questions, comments, silly stuff during the whole thing so that we don't have to just wait until the end to get to questions. We can kind of be interactive the whole time. But as you know, we're all mac and cheese. We're 7 cheese-based mac and cheese sauce with my sister's famous cheese sauce that she created. But she made it mild, tasty, but very simple so that it can pair well with a lot of our favorite flavors.
Yeah.
So what we're going to start with tonight is one of our go-to things that we like to do. We like to do dips.
Dips, yeah. So at the shop, because we have picked such a I don't want to ever use the word plain, a mild but smooth, creamy mac and cheese, we love to put a dip on top because it melts into the mac and cheese and changes the entire flavor profile. So what Pamela's going to show you right now, and she'll go over it though, is the base for all of our dips, of which you have the recipe for, and then she's going to show you one of the recipes.
Yes, and what I'm going to start with right now is about 2 to 3 cups of cream cheese. Tangy, delicious.
Softened is easiest, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be softened, but it doesn't hurt to leave it out for about an hour, 2 hours, just to get room temperature. What we're going to give you also this whole time are some substitutions, just because one of the best things about our recipes is the fact that most of the things you see here you either have in your pantries or your refrigerator, but if you don't, so many things are easily substituted. So if you don't have cream cheese, you can use sour cream, you can use Greek yogurt. There's plenty of other things. Right now, what did we add?
We added a lot of parm. So technically speaking, really quick, you do have recipes, you do have measurements, use them. They are correct. Me and Pamela, when at the cooking table, when in the kitchen, we like to freestyle a little more because we are only home cooks. We are not trained chefs. So tonight we're going to be playing a little more with the ratios that we use, but the ratios and the measurements you have are great for starters.
Yeah, this was about 2 cups to the 2 cups of cream cheese. But again, if you don't have Parmesan cheese at home, you can use any kind of grated nutty cheese. You can use Asiago. You can use Romano.
Pecorino is great.
Pecorino is great. Oh, I also wanted to mention, if you are vegan, instead of the cream cheese, you can use a tofutti. That's really good for the creamy base. And as far as the Parmesan cheese goes, there is, I wrote it down for everybody, it is a savory yeast flakes. They're yeast flakes and they're really nutty and they have a cheese flavor, and you can use that in place of the Parmesan cheese so that you can make your dips at home as well. So next thing that we're going to use is, we go for a ranch dressing because we're known for our in-house made ranch dressing.
Pam's Bam Bam Ranch. That's Pam Pam.
Bam, 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 bam. Anyway, we like to use a ranch dressing because what it does is it takes out the work of doing so many seasonings, because ranch is filled with all your seasonings already. If you look at the back of a ranch bottle, you're good to go. If you don't have ranch in your fridge, Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar, Italian. Dressings are already, for the most part, we say a creamy base because a creamy base is always going to work well with the cream cheese, with the cheese sauce. Obviously, there is some mayo in this, but you can go for something a little lighter because no matter what, it's just, a dressing is just that. It is a mixture of seasonings to elevate the taste of your salad, so why not throw it into a mac and cheese topping?
Delicious.
Do you want to show them what that looks like so far?
Yeah, I'm just going to mix it up first.
I mean, technically, I could eat that as is, but we won't.
I mean, this is a good
that.
dip right now. You don't need to add anything else. This is good to go. Yum. So, right now, you have a creamy consistency. You got all your flavors, spices, herbs. Everything's good to go. This is the base for basically anything that you want to do. What do we have some options up here before I show them what we're going to make?
Yeah, so while we are going to make the spinach, the garlic spinach dip today, what we do have up here is we wanted to show you, for something like the base we just made, get some extra buffalo chicken, a little cheddar cheese, you have a buffalo chicken dip.
Yum, yum, yum.
You can take some pesto from, the basil oil that we're going to show you later how to make, or the roasted red peppers if you're trying to sneak some veggies into your kids' meal.
Or if you're just trying to get rid of some roasted red peppers that have been sitting in a jar in your refrigerator.
Throw them in. It's a delicious base. It works well with so many flavors. The last that we'll tell you about before Pamela makes, caramelized onions and crunchy fried onions right away. Don't buy the French onion dip packets. You don't need them. Use real onion. It's delicious.
And you have a dip.
Yeah.
You have your homemade French onion dip. Delicious. But for tonight, we're going to show you our spinach and artichoke dip. We're just showing our creamy garlic spinach dip. So what we would then add to this base, we sauteed some spinach with garlic, salt, pepper. And this is actually our garlic base. So we take whole garlic cloves, we puree it with about a tablespoon of olive oil, and you get this really great paste. So you see that it's like a paste.
Which, by the way, is a great recipe just to keep in your freezer. I know
Freeze.
Trader Joe's makes something like that, which is great, but you can make it at home. It's really easy. Put it in ice cube trays or something smaller. You can just pop one out when you have a recipe that needs fresh garlic because it melts really quickly.
Garlic won't go bad.
It's delicious.
So mix that in. Already this smells amazing. Then you want to add a little bit of garlic powder, not too much because you just added garlic. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Again, this is the basic base. And then tonight we're going to add the rest of the garlic sauteed spinach.
So one thing about all of our dips, which is really fun, and a lot of our good customers know this, is that it's not, while they are delicious on our mac and cheese and they change the whole profile of your bowl of mac and cheese, they're also great alone. Carrots, pita chips, bring them for a tailgate, bring them for a party. These dips are not only for mac and cheese, they just work
And
great
for
with mac and
everything.
cheese. Yeah.
Take a chicken breast, pound it out, stick some of this in the middle, fold it back over, stick it in your oven.
So good.
Delicious. So this is the basic dip. If we weren't going to fill this with spinach, we could have put our fried jalapenos in here.
Oh, yeah.
That's our jalapeno dip.
Yes.
Good to go.
So good. All right, so before we move on to the next item that we're making, you guys, do we have any questions about that recipe? Anyone have any suggestions? Want to know, how soft your cream cheese has to be? How are you cooking your spinach? Let us know. Type it in, guys. If not, Pamela's going to get to going on our infusion.
All right, so a lot of our bowls are infused. We infuse it with our homemade jalapeno oil or house-made jalapeno oil. We do a lot of hot sauces. We do our homemade ranch. But we're going to show you that you can basically do it with anything that you have around. There are two basic ways to do infused oils, hot and cold. We do it hot in-house because we just like to cook our jalapenos, basically because of what we just showed you. We have these house-fried jalapenos.
I'm actually going to bring them up to the screen so you can see what they look like because they get
candy.
They get really caramelized and delicious. And like PJ said, they get candied and they are great. They're great on tacos. They're great in dips. They're great with everything.
They're really great. They're great on so many different things. So we have cold oil here.
I'm going to turn on the oil back here just to pop the basil in.
So what we're going to show you though is we're going to give you the basics for infusing oil at home. There's a few key things that you need to remember. One is you always want to start with a light oil. You don't want to use a heavy, rich olive oil. They're just not good. They're going to go rancid a little bit faster. A light oil with light flavor like a safflower oil or canola oil. Those are the oils that you want to use. Now, if you're doing a cold steep, what you want to do is make sure that you use it in a bottle that's airtight, and you want to start with all your herbs. You want to crush them. So basically, you want to take something like this. We're going to use basil, and you want to bruise it. So you want to take your leaves, and you want to rip them like this. If you don't, you're not releasing any of the oils in your herbs, and they're basically just going to sit at the bottom of your oil. But once you do this, you smell that right away. It all comes out. You can smell all the herbs. So I'm going to give these to Marty.
I'm going to pop these into our oil, and this is going to cook and fry up basically while Pamela tells you about the other oils being used.
Yeah, so once you do that, when you're doing it with hot oil, this is only going to take about 10 minutes. Once 10 minutes is up, you're going to let that cook. It's going to come to a boil. You turn it off. Let it cool in the pot. Put it in your airtight container. Put it in the refrigerator once it's cool, and you're going to have great oil for about 2 months. It's going to last for about 2 months if it even lasts that long because it's going to be so delicious. But the oil that's cold, it's going to last about 2.5 months as well in your refrigerator. But the flavor is not going to come out for about 2 weeks because you're steeping it cold. So things like garlic we have here, jalapenos, which are great, but you have to cut them and make sure that they're bruised as well and that the seeds are exposed. And we also have roasted red peppers here. So really, the possibilities are endless. Yes.
So right now we are steeping our basil in the oil. This is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes if you're doing basil.
Smells so good.
If you're doing jalapenos, it is going to take about 30 to 40 minutes. Because
for the jalapenos.
Yeah, for the jalapenos, and you want to see them bubble up and get that brown, crispy edge. We are going to come back to this in a little because we're going to go on to our crunches and then come back and we're going to make you guys some combinations of mac and cheese that maybe you didn't think you would want to try or that you even thought of trying. So we're going to set this on low and we are going to start with our crunches.
Awesome.
So really quick before Pamela gets into the recipes, if you've been to our shop, you know that all of the mac and cheese creations come with a crunch topping. For us, it was really important to have this ingredient because it brings texture and flavor and it's reminiscent of a baked mac and cheese when we don't bake ours here. So our classic crunch is the potato chip panko crunch, which we're going to show you how to make, and then we're going to give you options to change it up with ingredients you might have in your pantry. So, Pamela.
So really fast, before, I don't know if everybody knows what panko is. It's a Japanese breadcrumb. We just showed it to you right here. Right now, it is a little bit brown because this one has already been made. However, when you get it from a store, it's going to be very light and white. It's not going to look like it has any brown on it yet. However, if you do not have panko at home, what I know I always have in my pantry is Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. That would be perfectly fine to use. If you don't have Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, if you just have breadcrumbs, that's perfectly fine to use. But I'll tell you what I've had to use before. If I don't have anything in my house, and I just have a plain piece of white bread, I've stuck that in the food processor before, give it a whirl, pull it out, that's a breadcrumb. Breadcrumb. So perfectly fine to use, and as soon as you take it and put it in the skillet with a little bit of olive oil, it crunches right up. So really just as simple, and if you don't have white bread, any kind of bread. But
yeah, I made it out of wheat bread at home and I wanted a crunchy topping to my pasta before, a little olive oil, like she said, toast it up, grind it up, and then you have a great base. Here, we actually pulse up potato chips to put into our panko crunch for that salty bite because we don't like to add that much salt to it. But it also has that childhood nostalgic flavor that who doesn't want to eat with mac and cheese? I think anyone would think potato chips and mac and cheese are a match made in heaven. So that's what we did. What you're going to do you want to show them the process and then I'll show them what it looks like on the stove?
Yeah, so the basic mix.
I'm going to get your mixing bowl.
Yeah. We do a basic mix for our basic topping crunch. Our panko, delicious. So, what we do for our basic mix is our panko, which again would be a little bit lighter. That'll be the main of the mix. We mix that with about a quarter to whatever the whole amount is of the panko. It's 1 to 4. That's the ratio of chips to panko. Then we add in a little bit kosher salt.
I wish you guys had like smell-o-zoom. I don't know if that's a thing yet. It definitely will because the basil that is fried in that oil for the infusion smells insane.
Garlic powder, black pepper, salt, and a little bit of parsley if like we're feeling fancy. Sassy. And
you will not find any parsley at the Mac Mart one. There's a lot of garlic in that. But parsley does add a nice bite and color to your dish.
That's my bite. Okay.
I'm going to take a little of this. I'm going to pop this on the stove. You want it to be on like a medium high heat, but the thing with the panko and the breadcrumbs is you do have to watch it the whole time.
You can't leave the stove.
No.
You leave the stove, you have burnt panko.
So we're going to keep this on a medium high heat. And while that cooks up, I'm going to stand with it for a sec. Pamela's going to show you a few other options.
And your basil's probably done.
Okay.
Basil's probably done. This is when you want to turn it off because you don't want to burn your oil. And you're just going to let that steep. That's where the steeping comes in. You just let it sit and infuse. So, what do you do if you don't have chips at home? I mean, who doesn't have chips at home? I'm sure you have some kind of chip at home. When you don't have chips at home, you might have barbecue chips at home if you haven't eaten them all, like me. So, you just crush up barbecue chips, and then you have a barbecue panko. If you are like me and you live on a Cheeto diet, you probably have Cheetos at home if you haven't eaten them all. This is what was left in my house. So we had this, and we grinded up some Cheetos.
These are all really fun options, though, for like I know right now we can't have many parties, but even at home, if you want to do a mac and cheese bar and you're like, I don't really have toppings, I don't really know what to make. These are great options to lay out. You have pretzels.
Birthday party, yeah.
You have pretzels, make a Philly mac. Do some cheesesteak, do some crushed up pretzels, a little ketchup drizzle, and you're golden. If you want to do a cheese lover's mac and cheese, grab the cheddar cheese, grab some old cheese curls, pulse them up, maybe toast them up with a breadcrumb like we showed you, and you have that little extra flavor of cheese in your breadcrumb. It's delicious.
Whenever we do a Taco Tuesday, we always use the Dorito flavored taco shells with our mac and cheese. It's killer. You take some Doritos, crush them up, mix them in, good to go. I mean, honestly, you don't really even need the process of all this. It's just fun because we like to do a panko crunch, and it's fun to mix with these flavors, but if you're just making mac and cheese, throw a Dorito on your mac and cheese. That'll just give you the flavor.
I'm going to grab some bowls of mac so we can show you how to assemble the different layers of the toppings we made and the different combinations that we can make.
Awesome.
I'll be right there. May I have some mac? You bring me 2 bowls.
She's going to go grab some mac and cheese, and we're going to throw some things together. If you see anything on here that you would like to see combined, maybe pop it in the comment section. Or if there's something we have in the shop that maybe you're interested in, you can let us know. But otherwise, we're just gonna do some fun creations.
Yeah, I actually know that I'm gonna say we should add the jalapenos to the spinach and artichoke dip. But in the meantime, I'll actually show everyone what the basil is gonna look like. I am fast tracking this so that you guys can see, but for the most part, your basil, coming around. So when it comes to the basil or the jalapeno, I'm going to show you. Your oil will change color. It is going to be green, so don't feel weirded out. And it will wilt. This is what your basil will look like. You're essentially frying basil, but your oil is going to now be scented and flavored with that basil aroma and flavor. I'm going to fix that. And so from there, once you cool it, you will have a delicious basil-infused mac and cheese.
Yes, and very fast, if you're doing this with herbs, you're good to leave the herbs in the bottom of the oil. If you're doing this with spices, however, like peppercorns or Szechuan peppercorns or anything that you have to either break open, you would want to strain your oil first with cheesecloth. You don't want to leave broken peppercorns in the bottom of your oil. That would be no good, but if you're using whole peppercorns, you're good to leave it in your oil. All right, so we have some hot cheesy mac and cheese right here for everybody to see.
And if you guys want, we are happy to also fill you in on some tips and tricks to make a great cheese sauce at home, because we do have time, and I think that we do get a lot of emails. We get a lot of Instagram questions asking, how is your sauce so creamy? How does it stay creamy? What cheeses are you using? So just to go like a little bit of a rundown, these are like some super insider tricks. Oh my God, now it's like blowing up. You guys want to know the cheese sauce. Here we go. So first and foremost, it's not a secret. We're happy to tell everyone we do not use a roux here at Mac Mart.
No bechamel, no roux.
No bechamel, no roux. Every pot that we make here, handmade on this stove, is made with a whole milk base. Whole milk, we don't use heavy cream, actually, because it's super expensive, and it just became a lot of heavy cream that we would need for the size batches. But a whole milk base and a very creamy cheese will give you a great base to any mac and cheese sauce. That's if you want the super sharp. If you want to use the fancy blue cheeses, the fettas, the whatever you want, at least start with a
creamy whole milk cheese.
With a whole milk, and then you can either use a cream cheese, you can use an American. We don't suggest a Velveeta. It's not really a real cheese. But we understand that sometimes that's all you have in your fridge at home, and it will melt well.
Yeah, we're not anti-Velveeta. We're just anti-Velveeta for our mac and cheese.
Yes, we do use 7 real cheeses. We can't give you all of them, but just so you know some of the ingredients in here, so you can try and replicate it at home. Always a whole milk base, no butter, no roux, no bechamel, a creamy cheese to start, so either cream cheese or an American, and then all the cheeses you want in there.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever flavors you want for your cheese.
Yes.
A lot of people like a sharp cheddar, sharp cheese.
We do have a question for cheddar recommendations. We do not use a sharp. We've played with the Cabot sharp cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
We find that it has a really nutty flavor and very salty, which we like the salty. But what you will find with cheddar cheese, everyone, is that it will break if you reheat it.
And it kind of gets a little bit, it can get grainy, exactly. So, not right away. The first time you cook it, when you cook it, it's going to be stringy, delicious, gooey. But the second time around, which is one of the best features of our mac and cheese, we find people love eating it the next day and the next day or reheating. You will not get that all the time from a cheddar cheese.
It will sometimes break and actually get oily. So even though you're starting with a creamy cheese base and the milk, definitely put in something like maybe a Provence mix and then a cheddar, or an American and cheddar mix. You need something in there to bind the fats of the cheddar. So we would say mild. We use a James Farm cheddar here at the store. Cabot is obviously great, but we wouldn't go extra sharp. But yeah, I think that those are some great tips. And also use the dressing tip we gave you. Dressing is great in everything creamy because it already does the work for you in terms of seasonings. Whether you like,
by the way, whether you think you like something or not, give it a try. So like a lot of people come in here and they go, I hate ranch, I don't eat ranch, and they get bowls without ranch because they hate it, we understand. But like they're eating ranch anyway. They don't know that, but it's in things. I hate mayonnaise. I cannot eat mayonnaise, I hate it. But I love ranch dressing.
right.
I'm eating mayonnaise.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things. You kind of have to extend your palate a little when it's in something. It's the same sort of thing. So
Yeah, a blue cheese would work great. If you're a blue cheese lover and you're making buffalo chicken mac, in your cheese sauce, put the blue cheese. You're gonna taste it. It's gonna be like, you're gonna get those blue cheese notes, and then when you taste the chicken, you're gonna think you're eating a delicious wing just covered in cheese.
yum.
Do we use a double boiler method on the cheese sauce? No, we use the low and slow.
She's got one strong arm, people.
Literally,
Got one strong arm.
literally only this arm, and one of our kitchen managers, Manny, we're the ones that make the cheese sauce when Dom is here, when the world goes back to normal. Us three make the cheese sauce, and it is literally
Why not
low. She's upstairs doing all the smiling and making the Pam Pam's ranch, and we all got our jobs here, but I mean, she's got muscles. But it is, we make every bowl with, every pot is a 70-quart pot, a massive whisk.
But whoever asked that question, smart, because we do use a double broiler upstairs and for everything else, because it's the only way to keep things really hot, creamy, and smooth without burning it.
Totally, yeah, no, that's a great point. We do use a double boiler
So
upstairs.
smart question.
Yeah, you don't want your mac and cheese sitting all day on heat.
Or else you might as well have baked it.
Yeah, and then it's going to fry. So, while Pamela, do you want to start decorating? I'm just going to answer a few of these.
It's a little.
What infusion are you using?
I'm going to use the garlic infused oil for this first bowl I'm going to make. I'm going to let you make the second bowl. Just going to decorate a little. I'm going to do a scoop of our spinach and jalapeno.
Oh, yeah. So, Patricia, for your question, how much milk is okay? If you are making a batch of mac and cheese at home, I would say start with a half a quart for a family portion of mac, which is usually a box or 2 boxes of mac and cheese, which will be, each one is a pound. You're looking at about 2.2 pounds of cooked noodles. So I would say a half a quart of milk, and then see where you get with the thickness of your mac and cheese sauce. If you want it thicker, stay with the half a quart. If you want it thinner and spread out a little more, my sister here, she doesn't love a super cheesy mac and cheese. I like it drenched. So dependent on that, definitely start with a half a quart, not more than that, and just add a little from there, depending upon the cheese you use. Another great tip, a parm is a great thickener. Because we don't use a roux or a bechamel, like Pamela said, we don't have that flour in there, that starch. So a parm will thicken your sauce wonderfully and add that salty
and add
bite.
cheesy flavor, yeah.
So why don't you show them what you just made?
So I just made a bowl with everything. So we used the dip that we made together, the garlic infused oil, which I've had steeped all day, so it smells like oil, garlic, and it tastes like garlic. I did a little bit of a creamy mild cheddar just because it'll have a cheese pull once it gets hot. And I did some crunchy fried onions, and then I did a finish of a drizzle of Pam Pam's ranch.
That's probably going to be my dinner, or my first dinner.
Delicious.
Delish. I am going to do a jalapeno. Actually, this is the cold steep, so I'm going to grab our fully steeped jalapeno oil. So I'm going to change it up because it looks like it's upstairs. I'm going to use the jalapeno oil.
It's steeped all day.
Oh, it did? Perfect. I'm going to take some roasted reds. Yum. And I'm going to do a little parm onion. I have some clean gloves on, so I'm going to do a little parm onion. This is, I guess one thing we should mention is like a great part of making a mac and cheese bar is it can really feed everyone from the vegetarians to the carnivores.
Mm-hmm. From the child to the grandparent, to the picky eater, to the overeater.
I thought we were both going to point to me. Let's be real. This is going to be my dinner, my second dinner. But no, really, and if you know how to make a vegan cheese sauce, which some people are very interested in now, we do it. We don't make it. We get it from a wonderful vegan chef in South Philly. Just play with vegan toppings. You can make this all gluten-free as well. Crunchy fried onions are a gluten-free crunch. Roasted red peppers, you can do broth. One thing we should mention to you. This dip, little cheddar, a little steamed broccoli,
oh my God,
and the base that Pamela showed you, a broccoli and cheese dip.
To die.
Amazing. You can put it on mac, you can put it in
Stuff it in a steak, put it in a baked potato.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm my grandmother. A baked potato.
Yes. Well, listen, guys, we are at 8 o'clock. We are just at about the half hour for our workshop.
I gotta crunch this. I'm sorry, I gotta crunch it.
Just gotta crunch it. Let us know if you have any more questions. You guys have been wonderful. I hope we taught you all the fun things that you can do with mac and cheese. We are professional cheesers. So, let us know. We're super happy to have you, and we really should. We should take a moment to thank everyone because
oh my God, we're blessed with all of our customers, everybody that's come in during all this, ordered takeout, ordered
suburb delivery. So we really appreciate it, and we're gonna keep baking your mac and getting our mac on with you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you.